Say this really quickly. I want to give you guys a chance to kind of get to know how I show my love for people. Most people have love languages like quality time, physical touch, gifts, a servant's heart, all those things. Mine's kind of a mixture of quality time because if I'm spending a lot of time with you, obviously that means I love you. But my biggest sign that you are in my circle is if I take you to the movies with me. Going to the movies is such a love language for me. First of all, I think there's a lot of peace in going to movies by yourself. I love doing that 1000%. However, like I said, if I am taking you to the movies, that means you have a special, special place in my heart. If movie tickets drop and I, without hesitation, buy you a movie ticket, you know you have my love forever. I mean, seriously, every time a new Marvel film comes out, a Disney movie, a movie that I'm just excited about in general, as soon as tickets release, I'm always buying a ticket for myself, for Michael, for Allison, and depending on if my dad's in town, I'll buy a ticket for my dad, my brother-in-law, everybody. I am buying movie tickets for the people that I love, and I'm sharing that experience with you. That is my version of quality time. Speaking of going to movies, when Beetlejuice tickets dropped, I instantly bought a ticket for myself, for Michael, and Allison. We all got to go see it. We went to the early access screening that Cinemark was doing, so it was the day before the movie released. I felt really, really bad because Allison and Michael had an absolute blast with the movie. They loved it. They thought it was hilarious. They can't wait to go see it again. Michael hadn't even seen Beetlejuice before, and he thought it was awesome, which I was glad he had a great time. For me, I kind of felt like, oh, am I the bad person who didn't really think this movie was all that great? Like, don't get me wrong. As a sequel for Beetlejuice, it felt appropriate. It felt like it was a natural fit with that franchise. The characters felt like genuine continuations of the characters from the original film. The storyline felt genuine. Nothing really felt forced. The practical effects were amazing, and yet they still somehow felt like they could have been vintage in ways. It wasn't overbearing. They didn't overuse CGI. It felt like a good use of practical effects. I was really impressed with how the film was made and how it kept to the integrity of Beetlejuice. But as a movie itself, I didn't really think it was all that funny. The story is kind of a mess. They don't really end plot lines very well. It just kind of was like anticlimactic. I mean, there'd be this big bad villain in the film. I can't remember her name now, of course. But the big bad villain was just kind of like, snap and it's done. There's another character who was supposed to be a bad guy for Jenna Ortega's character, and he was also just kind of done. They just didn't really do a good job wrapping up storylines, in my opinion. Which was a little bit disappointing. And honestly, I feel like Beetlejuice isn't far enough. Like, it just feels like Beetlejuice is held back so much. And part of that is because you go see the Broadway adaptation of Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice is all over the freaking place, just unhinged completely, and it's awesome. It's why that musical is so, so great. It's because Beetlejuice has all this freedom to cause chaos, and in the movie, he doesn't really have that, and it's just kind of womp womp. But again, as a sequel to Beetlejuice, I think it's great. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of the original movie. I saw it for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I was just kind of like, this isn't that great. Because again, I saw the musical first. The musical is incredible. It's a great story. It's different than the original. It's kind of a mix of the original film and the second movie in some ways, actually. But I just, again, wasn't really all that impressed with my viewing of the original film a couple weeks ago. I thought it had some funny moments. It just didn't really resonate with me. I wasn't really in this whole cult bubble that the movie seems to have. But if you are in that bubble, if you do love the original film, I think you're going to have a blast with this. I don't want that to be misconstrued. If you love the original Beetlejuice film, I think you're going to love Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, it just wasn't really for me. It could have been. It really could have been. There's just a couple things I wish they kind of fixed, and it would have made a huge difference. I put the movie at like a 6 out of 10, so it's not a bad movie. It was not bad. It still had some funny moments. I don't think I'm as high on it as the rest of the group of people who seem to have seen Beetlejuice Alright, because I've been seeing like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I've been seeing people who really, really genuinely loved the sequel. I'm just not one of them. And that's okay, honestly. It really is.